It began as a simple, boastful post on social media. An ex-user named Shola, a self-styled life coach with a massive following, claimed that a Nigerian Yahoo boy had pulled off the seemingly impossible, scamming former U.S. President Donald Trump out of $250,000. The post went viral, shared thousands of times, igniting a frenzy of incredulous comments. "If these guys get the chance, they'll scam God," one reader quipped. "Scammed a whole Donald Trump. Bro playing fraud on Hall of Fame difficulty," wrote another. As the story spread from X to Facebook pages in English and French, it painted a vivid picture of a cunning Nigerian fraudster outsmarting one of the world's most powerful men. But the reality, as confirmed by official U.S. Department of Justice records and FBI investigations, couldn't be more different. Trump himself was never the victim. Instead, an earnest private donor, hoping to contribute to the Trump-Vance inaugural committee, fell prey to an impersonator. And it's that mix-up that fueled misleading headlines across social media and in some Nigerian news outlets. The term Yahoo boy is Nigerian slang for internet fraudsters who operate elaborate email and online scams, often by posing as wealthy foreign investors, romantic interests, or charity organizers. In Nigeria, where roughly 70% of the population is under 30 and unemployment remains high, cybercrime has become a lucrative, if illicit, path for some. In 2024 alone, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, secured 4,111 convictions, with cybercrime, advance fee fraud, and money laundering topping the list. Yet to attribute the misdirection of $250,000 directly to Trump's own coffers overlooks the true victims, everyday supporters eager to back their chosen candidate. The misconception reveals as much about the power of sensational headlines as it does about the challenges of combating fraud in the digital age. On July 4, 2025, Shola's X post declared, "A Yahoo boy scammed a whole Donald Trump, the president of US, $250,000. Some of you are really audacious." With over 373,000 followers hanging on every post, Shola's claim spread like wildfire. Shares surpassed 3,000 within hours, and soon the narrative took on a life of its own. Screenshots circulated on WhatsApp groups, and soon even local radio shows were picking up the story. Yet beneath the uproar lay a classic case of mistaken identity, and a reminder that in the online world, sensationalism often outpaces fact. Digging into the details, the DOJ's publicly filed complaints tell a different story. In reality, scammers impersonated the email domain of the Trump-Vance inaugural committee by swapping a single letter. They used address at t47linaugural.com, with a lowercase l in place of the I, instead of the legitimate at t47inaugural.com. The result was a perfectly executed bait-and-switch. An unwitting donor believed he was sending $250,300 in USDT.ETH cryptocurrency to the official campaign coffers, when in fact the funds were diverted to a series of fraudulent accounts. The most significant trail led to a Binance account under the name Ahiaman Egboken in Nigeria. As investigators pieced together the transaction history, they discovered that the stolen USDT tokens rapidly hopped through multiple wallets and exchanges, a classic laundering tactic among cryptocurrency-savvy fraudsters. U.S. prosecutors filed for seizure warrants, and the FBI ultimately confiscated 40,353 USDT.ETH connected to the scam, nearly half of which was frozen in Egboken's accounts. Digital forensic analysis linked him directly to the Binance wallet, providing the smoking gun evidence needed to pursue charges. Despite the clear chain of events documented in DOJ filings, several Nigerian news outlets perpetuated the misleading headlines. One paper trumpeted, "How Lagos Yahoo boy duped U.S. President Donald Trump of 2025 inauguration funds." Another ran with, "FBI pursues Lagos Yahoo boy for defrauding U.S. President Donald Trump of 2025 inauguration funds," only to note later that it was a donor who lost the money. These sensational titles stoked national pride for some and outrage for others, but they did little more than muddy the waters of public understanding. This incident shines a spotlight on how quickly misinformation can spread when sensational claims go unchecked, especially when they tap into deep-seated stereotypes. Nigerians are no strangers to online fraud stories, but that familiarity can cut both ways. While some scams are real, the blanket assumption that every fraudster is Nigerian fuels stigma. At the same time, when the target is a global figure like Donald Trump, the story takes on international dimensions, traveling far beyond local borders. The EFCC's 2024 conviction statistics underscore the scale of the issue at home. cybercrime and money laundering dominated the agency's caseload. High-profile convictions, such as those of Instagram influencer Ramon Olorunwa Ebbis, sentenced to 11 years in a U.S. prison for laundering tens of millions of dollars through online scams, and Abidemi Rufai, a former aide to the Ogun state governor, demonstrate that Nigerian fraudsters can reach victims worldwide. But conflating those real cases with the Trump $250K narrative does a disservice to fact-based reporting. On the flip side, the Trump-Vance inaugural committee incident reminds us that even well-funded political campaigns are vulnerable to cyber scams. The imposter emails were convincing enough to bypass standard verification processes, highlighting the need for rigorous cybersecurity protocols around high-profile fundraisers. Email authentication tools like DMARC, SPF, and DKIM can help prevent domain spoofing, while multi-factor authentication and out-of-band confirmation of large donations offer additional security layers. Beyond the technical fixes, there's a human lesson here. Donors and political operatives alike must maintain a healthy skepticism of unsolicited requests for funds, especially when they arrive via slightly altered domains or unfamiliar email addresses. In a world where a single letter can transform a legitimate address into a trap, diligence becomes as important as enthusiasm. Meanwhile, the FBI's efforts to bring the suspect, Ehiaman Egboken, to justice underscore the agency's commitment to pursuing cybercriminals across borders. Although the DOJ complaint refers to the suspect as an imposter who received an international transfer of funds from the US to Nigeria, it stops short of labeling him a Yahoo boy. Instead, prosecutors detail how he used multiple crypto wallets and exchanges to launder the money, evidence that speaks louder than any slang term. International media outlets, from The Independent in the UK to Fortune magazine in the US, covered the case with more accuracy, noting that the victim was a private donor, not President Trump himself. Their headlines focused on the mechanics of the fraud and the FBI investigation, rather than sensationalizing the involvement of a high-profile political figure. This measured approach helped correct the record and offered readers a clear picture of what transpired. As social media platforms wrestle with the spread of misinformation, this episode serves as a cautionary tale. Viral posts often bypass editorial oversight, and users frequently share content without verifying sources. In the case of Shola's X post, the social echo chamber amplified a misleading narrative until it seemed undeniable, even to seasoned news outlets. Fact-checking organizations play a crucial role in debunking such claims. AFP Fact Check, Snopes, and PolitiFact all highlighted the inaccuracies in the Trump $250K scam story, pointing readers back to the DOJ filings and FBI seizure announcements. Their work demonstrates how thorough, transparent investigations can cut through the noise of social media and bring clarity to complex issues. For Nigerians, the saga offers a moment of reflection on both sides of the equation. On one hand, it's a reminder that internet fraud remains a serious problem requiring robust law enforcement and public awareness campaigns. On the other, it underscores the importance of resisting sweeping generalizations that can tarnish an entire nation's reputation. The vast majority of Nigerians are law-abiding citizens, and the actions of a few online scammers should not eclipse the country's positive contributions to global culture, technology, and commerce. In Washington and New York, campaign officials likely conducted internal audits to shore up their donation infrastructure, ensuring that all future transfers pass through secure channels. In Lagos and Abuja, authorities may have reviewed cybercrime prevention strategies, aiming to curb the activities of real Yahoo boys who continue to exploit unsuspecting victims, both locally and abroad. Meanwhile, Ehiaman Egboken faces potential extradition to the United States to answer for wire fraud, money laundering, and related charges. The FBI's request for his arrest, backed by solid digital evidence, signals that anonymity in the cryptocurrency world is increasingly under threat from international law enforcement cooperation. As this story fades from the headlines, its lessons linger. In an era of instant information, verifying facts takes on renewed urgency. A single misleading post can spark wild speculation, shape public opinion, and even influence diplomatic perceptions. By contrast, reasoned analysis, supported by official records and expert insights, can restore balance and prevent the reputational collateral damage that follows sensationalized claims. For viewers of our channel, the message is clear. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never take a headline at face value, no matter how audacious it sounds. If a post claims a Nigerian Yahoo boy scammed Donald Trump out of $250,000, dig deeper. Look for official documents. Consult reputable fact-checkers. And remember that sometimes, The truth is far more nuanced than the story you first encounter online. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, so you'll never miss another deep dive into the real stories behind the headlines. Share this video with friends and family, and help us spread the word about responsible information sharing. Because in today's digital age, knowing how to separate fact from fiction is the most powerful tool we all have.